Hi there, welcome back. Right, we're going to be speaking Spurs now. First off, Jodie and Dave, I want you to have a look at this goal. Do you know what the significance of that goal is, Jodie's face?
I don't.
We've stitched him up there.
I have no clue whatsoever.
Dave?
Well, it's the last time that Spurs won a game, Bella, in the Premier League. It's a long time, isn't it?
You believe that?
And what was that date?
More than 100 days, 28th of December, a couple of managers ago for Spurs.
And how does that compare with other sides? Oh, right on cue.
I know, I mean, it's been a long time since we've had Premier League action, so that's the first thing to note. The international break felt like it's been 1,000 years long. So 101 days since Spurs last won a Premier League game. And, I mean, I feel like Leeds have been playing quite well for a long time, but they haven't won a game in 61 days. They beat Forest at the start of February, and they go to Manchester United on the Monday Night Football, so there's going to be a few extra days added on there. Bournemouth as well. I feel like they've been playing well recently, but it's 57 days since they won a game, 5 successive draws for them. Their last victory came middle of February against Everton. Liverpool on that list as well. 39 days since they last won a Premier League game. They didn't win a game in the league in March. I know they obviously had success in the Champions League as well during that month. So Spurs, 101 days since they last won a Premier League game. Ironically, though, obviously the player that scored that goal at Crystal Palace, Archie Gray, has probably been their best player this season, or certainly come out of the problems that they've had this year with maybe the most credit out of everyone.
And for someone so young as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he played so much last year as like an 18, 19-year-old. And the level of performance, not only in midfield, but at right back, at centre-half at times. And you go, it just shows you what a character the young kid is there. I mean, I know he's not known for him scoring goals, but yeah, it doesn't surprise you, does it, that maybe the one thing that Spurs fans can talk highly about at the moment is one of their younger players.
Yeah, look, some tough stats to take for Spurs fans, but there is a new manager at the helm now, OK? So let's look forward. What do you make of the appointment?
I like it because I think one of the things that you get from De Zerbi is that he doesn't take no nonsense. I think he lays down the law early. He knows how he wants to play, but anyone that I've ever spoken to that have been in and around him, from particularly at Brighton, were basically just how bright he was and how he had everyone thinking on the same page. Now, is that the ideal time to maybe go in and maybe change the style of play? It's going to be difficult, but I think when you've got a bright coach that understands that you can't change everything at once, but you've got someone who knows exactly what they want and is very demanding of his players, I think he's the perfect candidate to go in there.
How long does it take? I mean, obviously you've been in at clubs as well, managing. How long does it take for a manager to know who he can trust to carry out his ideas on a pitch? He's only had a short turnaround between going in and his first game. So how many training sessions does it take you to realise, OK, I know you can do what I want, I know you can do what I want?
Yeah, I think it's difficult to maybe sort of chuck a blanket answer onto that and say, this is how long it will take. But what he will need is, he'll need bright players that want to take on board information, but not only take on board information for themselves, but maybe have a few leaders in the group that can help spread that information throughout the group as well. Because it's very difficult for one person, one manager, a couple of coaching staff to be able to hit everybody in the group. You've got to be lucky, and sometimes, I remember when Tuchel came in at Chelsea, he spread his message very quickly, but he also had some really good, bright footballers that were able to take on board that message and help spread it throughout the group, which is a huge help for a new incoming manager. So he'll be hoping that he sees that, and I imagine if he gets any inkling or any signs of that in training, he'll be honing in on those type of players that can maybe help spread the message.
Just on the flip side of that, what's it like as a player when a new manager comes in? And this is very late in the season as well, and, you know, obviously, like, they're being faced with relegation here. So what is it like for a player having to adapt now? Well,
I think it all depends, one, what your own situation is. Are you one of the ones that have been playing week in, week out anyway, and are you now thinking that your position may be under threat? Or are you the ones that may be on the periphery and you're going, well, hold on a minute, it's a new manager now. The last manager maybe never fancied me. Is it an opportunity for me to impress? Is there going to be a slight change in system or style of play which may suit you as an individual? But I think ultimately, and most importantly, which I'm sure all Spurs fans or anybody that want to see Spurs in the Premier League are hoping, is that they just almost like club together and get on the same page and want to look like they're fighting for their club. Because at the moment, if you was to maybe look at the teams that are all at the bottom, you'd probably say Spurs are the ones that up until now haven't really been fighting for the shirt. And when you're getting teams that are below you now, like your Forest, are getting a little bit of uptake and stuff, could find themselves in big trouble.
Dave, what is the magic number then to stay up this season?
Well, if you go, our friends at Opta are predicting that it could be around 38 points, so 37, 38 points to stay up this season. And they've got Spurs staying up by a point. So it could be very, very close if you go on the numbers that we've seen across this season. Now, that obviously doesn't take into account a possible new manager bounce with Roberto De Zerbi, but we all saw with Igor Tudor, it wasn't exactly a new manager bounce. So that figure of 38 could well be the highest points for survival that we've seen in the Premier League for a decade. I think it was around 2015-16. Sunderland stayed up with 38 in that season. So Spurs, if they are going to pick up another 8 points to survive, they've got to start against Sunderland away on Sunday. Then it's home against Brighton, away against Wolves. Not sure of their situation by the time they get there on April the 25th. Aston Villa will be challenging still for Champions League football. Another side in and around them, Leeds, and then it's Chelsea and Everton to finish the season.
Jodie, just looking at these last 7 then, where do you think Spurs are going to get some points?
Well, if you are Spurs, you're instantly looking at the first 3, I think. I know Sunderland have been great this year, but if you're someone like De Zerbi, who's taking control of his second, third and fourth games here, you're looking at those going, I used to be at Brighton, we'll know a load of their players. Sunderland, OK, have had a very good year and surprised quite a lot of us, but you still, I know it's going away to Sunderland, but you still would be thinking, listen, we've got enough to go and get a result there. And then Wolves, like you said, Dave, they could be down already, and then you're hoping that you've put yourself in a great position because they ain't going to get anything at Chelsea, for starters. And then,
calling that already.
But in fairness, like you're right though, those last 4 teams could all have something to play for. So you'd like to think that they'll be hoping that they get something on board like really quickly. But just another thing on De Zerbi, one of the things that I think will be good for the players is that a lot of those players in the Spurs team would have played against the De Zerbi Brighton team. And I like there's some teams that you play against and go, oh, they were good. You know, like De Zerbi had them playing a certain level of football where sometimes it can stick with you. And I think that will be a good thing as well, going, he done that with a Brighton team. He should be able to do bigger and better things at a Spurs team, albeit the position they're in doesn't support that. But I think it will be good for the players who have played against the Brighton De Zerbi team.
So do Tottenham stay up?
Oh, just about to ask that.
You got in there. I do think they stay up.
Yeah.
I hope they do, because it's always a good place for Chelsea to go and nick some points.
Oh, wow.
With one hand you give, with the other you take away.
We're just the same person today. I was literally about to say that as well. Right, OK. Thank you, Jodie. We're going to move on next and talk about David Raya. Is he the best goalkeeper in the world? We're going to get Jodie's thoughts on that and also look at what makes him so important to Arsenal.
Welcome back to Sky Sports FC. Roberto De Zerbi's first match in charge of Tottenham Hotspur. A tricky-looking trip to Sunderland. Live on Sky Sports on Sunday, with the club hanging precariously just 1 point above the relegation zone and still without a league win in 2026. Jamie O'Hara, you've been so despondent about your old football club under the tenure of Thomas Frank and Igor Tudor. But talking before we came on air this morning, I said, Spurs staying up? You said, yeah, absolutely, De Zerbi's going to keep us up. What gives you that confidence? And the rest of the Spurs fans, all the Spurs fans think they're not going to the Championship now, but they were a couple of weeks ago.
Well, we still can. I mean, it's still a possibility. You know, our last performance was shocking against Nottingham Forest, but I think with Roberto De Zerbi coming in, I think he was the best manager available that we could have got. You know, he's primed, he's ready to go, he's hungry, he knows the Premier League, he's a great tactician. His philosophy of football, you know, seems to... You know, when you speak to players... I don't know Roberto De Zerbi. When I've spoke to players who know him, who have worked under him, and you hear players coming out saying how special he is, how good he is, you know, I think I think that's when then he's going to get a reaction from the players. I think Igor Tudor was a really poor appointment. But I think De Zerbi coming in will hopefully change things. It's a big game. Sunderland, tough game now. It's a tough fixture. But he's got to try and, you know, he's got to get something out of these players.
Yeah. Let's speak to a Spurs fan, shall we? Let's speak to George Achillia, who joins us right now on Sky Sports FC. George, welcome along. Go on, apart from the word result, what is the one thing you would tell Roberto De Zerbi to change for Sunday's game against Sunderland?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, we've been so deprived of good football. I think it's going to be nice to actually see Spurs try and play through the middle of the pitch for once. So that's something I would like to see, players playing a little close-knit football and looking to control the game more. I think, under Frank, it was all about counter-attacking football, which is why we did so well away from home. But at home, we were absolutely dreadful. So I think it's going to be nice to actually see Spurs, control the game for once, which is what I want to see, throughout the Sunderland game, Brighton game, and so on and so forth the rest of the season.
Do you think he's got to obviously look at the fact that as well, like we leak goals? I know you talk about playing good football, and we all want to see that with De Zerbi. But his main focus is we've got to keep some clean sheets. We've had a massive issue with that.
Agreed, but I think keeping the ball will help with that. I think the problem is with, like I said, with Frank, if you're constantly hoofing the ball up to Kudus all the time, you're going to turn the ball over. The opposition are going to get it. They're going to come at you. Yeah. And I think we've faced the most shots we've had in God knows how many years. So I think being able to actually keep the ball and keeping it well is something that's going to hopefully stop that from happening. Obviously, of course, we haven't got Vicario in goal because of the surgery that he had. But I'm just hoping that little bit of confidence of better football from the players and actually keeping the ball for once might actually stop us from having hundreds of shots against us in the season.
You say a little bit of confidence. George, how confident are you that you're going to be staying in the Premier League with this man now in the dugout?
Really difficult to say without seeing how the players respond, because as much as I like De Zerbi's brand of football, I think it was great at Brighton. It clearly worked quite well at Marseille at the beginning. I think the issue is I don't think we've got the right midfield set up for it with the way he likes to play. I don't think we've got a lot of great passes in that team. So I'm going to be interested to see how they sort of respond to it. But I think it should be a lot more positive. I think one thing when the talks were about a new manager coming in, one thing I sort of overlooked at the time was how important it is to have someone that is nailed on. Well, I say nailed on more long term. Because I think, I remember Jamie was saying last week, I said I put forward Sean Dyche as probably the best option. But that would probably only have been for like 7 games and moved on in the summer. Yeah. Whereas I think having De Zerbi in for a more longer term period, that should hopefully give the players a bit more of a boost, because then they're thinking, oh, hold on, if we want to keep our place from next year and beyond, we need to get into this guy's football. So I think that will be important. It's still going to be tough because, look, we've got players still returning from injury. I think Kudus is going to be a big difference for us when he can get back fit.
Just on sort of, his pedigree, and Jamie, your view on this as well, but there'll be some Brighton fans out there saying, OK, look, the first season was great, the second not so much. There was talk of him replacing Pep Guardiola at one point at Manchester City because Pep's mentored him for so many years. Marseille, he lost in that Champions League playoff, didn't he? And then walked out on the club the following day. I mean, they are just the facts of.
Brighton fans loved him, by the way.
The style, they loved the style.
Brighton fans loved him. They loved his passion. They loved what he was about. He fell out with the hierarchy in the end because he wanted to see the club progress. He got him Europa League football. He wanted to see him, push on, sign big players, not sell the best players, but Brighton have a model. They have a project, and that's fine, and it works for them.
How quickly could he fall out with the Spurs hierarchy? Because many managers have done that.
Well,
it can happen.
I think that's definitely a long-term issue. Let's put it that way, as to whether they're actually bringing the right players that we need for him. But I think right now the full focus has to be on these next 7 games. I think staying up is the absolute priority.
It's fighting that fire, isn't it? Do you think it's going to go right to the final day? You've got Everton on the final day, haven't you? Is it going to go that deep? Can you handle that?
Yeah, look, I think the away games are tough for us. We've got Villa away, Chelsea away, even Wolves away. I don't think we've won in the last 6. So I think they're not the easiest in the world. I think what's more important for me is we have to absolutely nail these home matches. I mean, look, Sunday I'd like to see a positive result as well, but I think we've been absolutely dreadful at home all season. Yeah. I think we've only won 2 games. What was it, Burnley and Brentford? So I'd like to see us get the wins against Brighton, Leeds, Everton, and I think that should hopefully just be enough. But yeah, I think we've got to start with a positive result this week.
Yeah. Sunderland's a big game. It's a tough fixture, but he's absolutely right. Under De Zerbi, hopefully our home form will improve because we'll be playing better football.
What about the psychology, guys? Both of you Spurs fans. Friday night, West Ham play Wolves.
Yeah. Could go into the bottom 3.
Well, at West Ham, you'd assume that West Ham get those 3 points, George and Jamie. You're in the bottom 3 for the first time. Since when? Since it was alphabetical, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, it took 120 minutes against Leeds. So that little extra half an hour probably helped us big time. Hopefully they're all knackered for the game against Wolves on Friday.
It could be a massive bonus for us. Because they might get beat.
As much as I think Wolves are going down, they seem definitely too far gone at this point. They've actually been playing some pretty good football in the last couple of months. under Edwards. So I feel there's a good chance that Wolves could actually come away with a result, which I think we're all just hoping for. There's too many things that we have to rely on at the moment with other teams.
So go on, give me the name. Who is going down? Because I know both of you are not saying Spurs now with De Zerbi. So you're saying West Ham as it is?
As it is, I think it's going to be between West Ham and Forest. I think Forest have got an insanely difficult last 4 games. I think they play Newcastle, Man United, Bournemouth, and another tough team. I think it might be Chelsea in the last 4, which I think is going to be a tough ride in for them.
Jay, what you say?
I'm going to say West Ham.
As is, yeah.
That'll be good.
Well, look, final question, and again, I'm stirring the pot a little bit, but would De Zerbi be there if you went down? Would he stay in
Well, he said he is.
Championship, would he?
He said he is.
You'd take him on that word, yeah?
I don't know.
If the Italy job came up, Championship Spurs?
He signed a 5-year contract.
Oh, they mean everything. Yeah, that must be definitely...
No, I think he will be there. I think this is a big job for him. This is a huge opportunity. You know, if Tottenham get it right, Tottenham are a big club, and it's a club that you want to be a manager of.
Listen, I'd hope so, but he's also said he saw him being at Marseille for the long term as well, and that lasted less than 2 years. So
Marseille,
I'm not taking anything for his words.
It's Marseille, though. Come on.
Marseille's a big club, Jeremy.
Not
Spurs level,
Spurs.
though. George, right, top man, thank you very much. What a game it's going to be on Sunday. It's a tough one, isn't it? Spurs travelling to Sunderland. Super Sunday, kick-off at 2 p.m. You do not want to miss that. Let's get Jamie riled up after the break, because next we're going to be talking about a new offside law that was tested for the first time over the weekend. But would it bring an end to the debate over controversial calls? We'll get O'Hara's thoughts next.